How are y'all doing, sports fans? Doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enjoying this Texas heat and the skeeters. And,
Yeah, the skeeters.
quote
nice.
one of my friends. But
Yeah, everyone talks about the heat. It's the fun part's really the skeeters. You know?
Exactly.
I don't understand why they don't know that, but for those of you who don't know,
You don't know, you don't know, right?
yeah, that's right. That's right. You're better off in this case. So
Absolutely.
we're going to talk about the bite sports.
Yep.
We call them sports right now,
Mhm.
but there's really okay. So there's a whole lot more to everything in the dog world than we know, and none of it started in the U.S. of A. Is
No.
that accurate? You know,
We're like the import. Like we're the last country to actually. We're a little late in the game.
right. We're a
Little
little
late
late
in the game.
Yeah. So, what we're going to do right now, and there's because we do so much in the real the security dog world and everything else, we're going to go over what these sports, give you a little history, what they're really designed for. If you've got a security dog and you want to go compete, what are the best sports suited best for a security trained dog, not for a sport trained dog? If you got a sport trained dog, how hard is it to switch them over to security street work? So we're going to kind of, but first we want to get our terminology straight. We want to make sure we're accurate on what we're saying, and for accuracy, we always go to Mr. Sinclair. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. So basically, you've got a few sports out there, but tonight we're going to focus on basically Schützen and French training as the two primaries. You got KNVP, which is the Royal Dutch training, and you have Mondio ring. So basically, Mondio and French and Belgium ring are kind of similar. So I just broke it down to keep it for the time we have to keep it to
The two that started
the
it
two
all,
primaries,
and,
basically.
and the two biggest are
So to me, it's Schützen training. You know, tested dogs or obedience training, tracking
Right.
skills and
right.
protection skills, and evaluates if a dog has the appropriate traits for a good working dog.
When did they start doing that?
Actually, it was developed in Germany in the early 1900s as a suitable test for German Shepherds.
For German Shepherds.
German Shepherds only, to start in the early 1900s. Because about 1885 to 1900, the Shepherd were considered a herding dog.
Okay.
And the transition to a full all-around working dog took place about 1900. And they found out pretty quick that the dogs weren't up to their standards. They weren't working right. So Schützen came into play, and basically became the model training for German Shepherds. So basically, if your dog could pass the Schützen test, you could actually register him as a German Shepherd dog and breed him. If the dog did not pass the test, he's not a German Shepherd dog, and you can't breed that dog.
So to make sure, and for you purists out there, it would in Germany that would have been called an Alsatian. I just want to make sure everyone knows we know that.
Yep.
So you're saying that they set this up as a requisite to becoming you weren't born a German Shepherd.
No, you had to prove yourself to be a German Shepherd.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't just your German Shepherd. You had to pass these tests, and you passed the test that they required for a working dog at the time, because it was getting the military and everything else. No
Right.
protection, but you could breed the dog. Good bloodline. This dog has the traits we need for him to breed.
Right.
You know, and a few years later, it became actually a standard for all the German working dogs: the Boxer, Doberman, Rottweiler, and the Riesenschnauzer, which is it can be a trivia question.
Giant Schnauzer.
Giant Schnauzer. Right. So basically, you know, what I'm looking at it here is, it's only for German Shepherds, but it grew into the sport after that. All 5 working class dogs. At the time, you're talking about the early 1900s here.
Right.
And actually a little later with the Dobermans, so it bled down to that, but going down, that's where they were with that.
So where did this became what you had to do to own a real Alsatian or German Shepherd?
Yes, and add a thing. This practice is still practice. This practice is still practice. That's double negative, but in Germany today.
Right.
So,
and other countries as well.
Yes.
European countries, Scandinavian countries.
Yep.
What about the French ringers?
Well, working on it. French ring originated in the late 1800s as a way to determine the dog's suitability for breeding.
Right there.
What?
Says it all.
What?
Yeah. Wow.
So ring sports was actually for breeding dogs.
Yeah.
For the caliber of the dog.
Yeah.
The bloodlines.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Edmund Malachon, a British-Belgian, is so close. A Belgian dog breeder came up with this test. And he went through Europe doing this, and it didn't take long before he helped inspire the French-Belgian ring dog trials. And the first ring dog trial was actually conducted in Melichon, Belgium in 1907.
Wow.
No, think about that. The first ring trial was 1907 in Europe.
Right.
We got introduced to it in 1987. So there was no ring sport in the United States for 80 years. And it's a popular thing now,
Right.
But they did that back then with their dogs and never came here until 87. I think Mondial Ring came in what, 80?
Mondial Ring was a little bit later than that, but in the 80s.
Right, so Mondial Ring, a little thing on Mondial Ring. I'm not going to get into it. It's basically, there was French ring and Belgian ring.
Right.
And the French ring helped initiate Mondial Ring, which is a combination of both, and the rules different and the techniques and trials are different. So,
Right.
So you had to do this for your dog to breed it. Had to pass all these things, and then you could breed it.
That's it.
For the working dogs, if you ever wanted to have a working dog in Europe back in the day, you had to. And back in the day is way back in the day, 80 years ago.
Way back, yeah.
You had to pass all these criteria, and if your dog didn't pass these criteria, you weren't considered the breed, and you weren't considered part of the breed, and you couldn't breed. Now it trickles down today where these sports have come down, and to identify police dogs like the KNBP, that's a big deal.
Right, and that's
a whole
not
different
sport.
story,
That's
but it is based on, it branches off from the French ring back in 1800s.
Exactly. Roots all go back to those two sports.
Yep. Everything goes back to France.
So, and you can see when they came across over here, and Mondial is the only one I've never really had a lot of experience with. I've got some friends that competed in actually Mondial Ring championships, but when you talk about, I remember I actually remember when Schutzen came here in '72, and then French Ring came, the NARA, which was I think the first French Ring Association. They formed about '86, but the first trial was held in '82.
Right.
In Colorado. So
basically before test run, basically.
Yeah.
Before the clubs got together and everybody got organized.
Start organizing.
A few years,
So which of these sports is best suited if you have a security dog, personal protection, street dog, working dog, whatever, guard dog, whatever, and you get the people that say, well, you're a sport dog trainer, I'm a street dog trainer, I'm a protection dog trainer, you're a Schutzen trainer, and Schutzen dogs don't do this because they're all sleeve oriented and yada yada, and then security street dogs, they're vicious and they're not trustworthy, and let's clear the slate.
So basically, what you're saying is it's like a tree, and it's growing out.
Yep.
Right? Let's cut all the branches off the tree and have just the tree there.
Yeah. It ain't much shade if you do it that way, is
It's
it?
okay though. It's always hot in the dog world.
Always hot in the dog world. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I think you can look at is, let's look at the Max von Stephanitz. Who's the gentleman who started the ring sport? The Belgian guy, the British guy.
I can't remember his name. John Joe DiMario.
I mean,
I pronounce that anyway.
Yeah. These were men with vision and a purpose, and their breed certification tests, which is what Schutzen and Ring were, evolved into an amazing system, an accurate system for showing the worthiness of a breed to do a job. Simple as that.
Yep.
Now, let's be clear. It doesn't mean that the training they did taught the dog how to do that job.
Mm-mm.
It just means that you know they have all the temperament, characteristics, and athletic ability that it takes once you train them to do that job. So, how do you know which sport? Assuming you got a security dog and you want to go compete. We like to compete. We like to be competitive. We like to do things with our dogs. So which sport's going to work best for you? Well, if you're going to do the most all-around sport that's strictly geared to prove a potential police or military working dog, it's got to be Schutzhund.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be. Because a good police or military working dog not only has got to be obedient off leash, they've got to have the ability for a patrol dog to apprehend,
Mm-hmm.
and they've also got to be able to use their nose to find
That's right.
things. And Schutzhund is the one sport that combines all three of these disciplines, or these exercises, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're really into working towards that, I would go with that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're going to get some blowback. There is an organization, I forget now the initials that go with them, that they do great Schutzhund training. I think they were actually started by pit bull people who weren't allowed to compete in
IPO?
Huh?
IPO?
No, it's not IPO. No, it's strictly an American thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, when you get out of breeds, when you let everything in Europe, Scandinavian countries are going to be sort of breed specific, because these, what we call sports, to them, to this day, they are breed qualifications.
Mm.
They really are. So for those folks, you're going to find your appropriate sport,
Mm-hmm.
or your appropriate certification system, whatever you want to call it. If you're not interested in police or military type work, you just want an athletic badass, you might look at French ring. You know, the purpose of French ring, the obedience is not intricate. It's precision, but it's not intricate. It's not lengthy. The main thing that they're doing with their mouths, they wanted to see quick athletic ability. Dogs that could, you know, get to a man, and no matter what that man was doing to dodge or get away from the dog, he couldn't. So you have the clatter stick. They put up what they call a barrage. As the dog's coming, they'll take this split stick, bamboo stick that's split, makes a hell of a racket.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll just, a good French decoy is poetry in motion, unlike Schutzhund, where you don't have a decoy. In Schutzhund, you have a helper. Now, these are all old official terms. They may not be in use where you live right now.
Right.
And, you know, maybe they're not that strict on their usage in the whole the United States today. But that's what you have. In Schutzhund, you have a helper. And by helper, we mean he's going to have a sleeve. And with that sleeve, he's going to drive the dog. He's going to do stick hits. He's going to stand in a barking hole when the dog finds him in the blinds. And he's a helper. Mind you, these are what I was told by several German trainers when they first came to this country. They use the term that they use translates to helper, because that man's job on the field is to help the judges see the best side of that dog. So they're there to make that dog look good.
Mm-hmm.
In the protection phase, the bite work phase, or as they call it, the grip phase of the trial. A decoy is slightly different. Think about a helper helps the dog look better for the. What's a decoy do? Well, the first time I ever heard him say decoy, I'm thinking little duck hunting, right? Why do you call that guy a decoy? Decoy sits on a pond and lures all them flying by ducks down to have a drink, and then sets them up for the bite. That's what a French ring decoy does. He makes the dog come at him, and when he is just a quarter of an inch from sinking his teeth into some body part, usually lower body, because it's easier for the man to dodge, or excuse me, it's easier for the dog to not be dodged if he's going for the lower body. You can twist your upper body a lot quicker than you can move your lower torso. So ring dogs will bite legs, but they'll bite everywhere. They don't have as much precision. They don't have the tracking. So if you want just a bad little buzz saw, then go with the French ring type sports. And you should be doing, really, really having a good time. I don't know of any French ring groups that are all breed. And if I can, before the podcast is over, I can think of the all breed Schutzen group. I will sure give you their initials too. But there is an all breed, and you can look them up. They do a lot of pit bulls.
Yeah, I've been looking. There's a lot on the Schutzen clubs. They're very breed specific.
Yeah.
There's some from Malinois, Mals, Shepherds, Dobies, Roddies, and there's a few here. We'll probably link them in the chat on YouTube later on. But I've got a list of open clubs in America.
Yeah.
But it's basically breed specific. They're really breed, and it doesn't get over. Most of those clubs only have 15 to 20 people in them. Right. Because there's only so much time you get on the field with a dog when you get a group together.
Yeah, exactly. You can't grow a big, huge club.
Yeah.
So if you, I don't know, what do you think about Mondio and those other stuff? Let me ask you this, Scott. What do you think about the benefit? Who does best? A protection street security trained dog going into a sport, or a sport trained dog going to security work?
Sport going the other way.
Think they do better than a security dog going into sport?
I would think so.
Why is that?
You got a question?
No, I think the other way.
You think the other way?
Yeah.
Carol Ann's going the other way.
But I just want to.
You what?
Picture it in my mind, but I think a security dog going in.
Talk louder.
A security dog going into sports would do better. It's because I feel the way that we train our dogs, we train them for so much that if we train them to go into sports, it would be easy for them to learn.
I don't think so.
I think so.
I think the sport dog has it's already imprinted in them as dogs. Repetitious trials and motions, and whether it's French ring or Schutzen, the dog already has a knowledge of it. And be more the obedient side, to be balanced with it, to make it work. But the sport dog can become easier than a protection dog.
The sport dog will definitely can become. There's no doubt.
I'm talking. Are you talking just from scratch?
No. I'm talking about if you.
So basically, I'm looking at this angle right here is where I'm looking at a sport dog is already a sport dog.
Titled.
Yeah, he's already a sport dog.
And now you want to turn him into a personal protection dog.
Right.
Because your sport dog is not a security dog. Let me be clear about it. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Right. But he already has the basics.
Mm-hmm. But a security dog already has basic obedience and bite work too.
You're talking title dogs, not from scratch dogs.
No, it's titled.
Man, that's a tough one. I always think sport would come. The cross throw would be easier.
Yeah.
But wait a minute.
Okay.
Now, security dogs are trained where?
Where?
Yeah, on a field, in the street,
everywhere.
Oh, okay.
Everywhere.
And I've been researching clubs and the way Schutzen is now. They're set a certain way.
Yep.
So the biggest thing is the security dog can come in and learn that, as where a sport dog, regardless of what it is, would come in and be outside of his element.
There you go. You're looking good, Scott.
So you're pretty good, Carol.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy you supper tonight, man. Bye, God.
So Scott just hit the nail on the head. I've always said this and believe this, and I've had actually a couple of my guard dogs that we later sold, and people went ahead and competed and they won. You got to remember this: when you're training for any one of the major sports, it's a competition and a certification system. That's what it's for. It doesn't mean your dog's going to go on the street and kick Godzilla's butt. and it's a pattern. And the reason you have these patterns, and I know in this country you have all these people, surprise scenario, I want to be real. Well, you know, if I do juggle three bottles and slap my head and keep juggling this week, and then next week I go dribble a basketball, shoot a basket, how do I know I got better at juggling? I don't, do I?
No, but that's the whole thing. It's a sport.
Well,
They're critiqued so hard on. There's points taken off. It doesn't turn right. If the grip ain't right.
well, no, on that stuff.
I'm saying, but that's. I'm just enhancing or back up what you're saying.
Yeah.
And that's great. And
That's
that's
it, yeah.
tough, man.
Yep.
That ain't no easy
No,
gig there.
no, it's not. I mean, it's probably.
It's like trying to bowl a 300. Have you
Yeah.
ever bowled 300?
No.
You ever hit a hole in one?
No,
So
no.
That kind of because there's
No.
so many variables with that.
Right. So, and that's the whole deal. You get surprise scenario stuff this week, next week. Don't, because you don't have a standard to judge by. Everything's different. One week you're juggling Coke bottles, next week you're dribbling a basketball. Did you get better? You don't know. So that's why you have the setups that you have with the KNPB, with Schutzen, with IPG, because they have a written standard that you have to reach to be judged proper. What you got, Carolyn?
Carolyn asked about, when you go from security to sport or sport to security, the drives of the dogs. Like, does the security dog have a higher drive,
It doesn't matter.
or is the drives the same with security in sport usually?
Mr. Sinclair's whispering in my ear. What did you say?
It doesn't matter. The dog is at threshold zone. No matter what he's in, if he likes chasing balls, jumping fences, what's that sport we watch on TV?
Fly ball.
Fly ball. The dogs drive. You go back and check some of our videos about how the dogs drive work. It doesn't,
What I think, who was that wrote that in?
Carolyn.
Carolyn?
Carolyn.
Yeah.
I think, Carolyn, what it comes down to, we have this thought, and I could be wrong, but this drive is meant for this kind of job and this kind of dog. This drive is meant for the other kind of dog and the other kind of drive. So if I got a dog that I want him to be a good sport dog, I want to get a lot of prey drive. If I got a dog I want him to be a police dog, I want to do a lot of defense drive. If I got a dog that I want to take on a trip, I'll get a dog with four-wheel drive. There's two drives that work. And when Schutzen first came over here, when I learned the scientific method of training, and it was with the first Schutzen groups that I went and joined and worked with, all we knew before that was the Kohler method of guard dog training. And it's a great way to teach your dog how to be a street dog. But Mr. Kohler didn't know about drives and instincts and DNA and genetics, and he just knew how to get a dog to do something. That's how I was raised, just get a dog to do something. Then when the German trainers came over and they started giving us these scientific ways to do things, it made it easier to get the dog to do something. And we had two drives to work with, prey and defense. And they told us that the secret was to balance the two, because each drive has specific benefits. In prey drive, a dog's not afraid of the little bunny rabbit bouncing, so when he reaches for it, he gets a full mouth and he holds it. Now, he doesn't have to hold it very tight because it's just a bunny rabbit. He just goes and it's gone. But, and y'all have heard me say this in a lot of podcasts, if a grizzly bear comes up and corners him, when he bites, it may not be full because he wants to be able to turn loose and get away, but he's going to bite so cotton picking hard that bear's going to go backing up a little bit, right? Then, since he didn't bite that full, it's easy for him to release and go. So in defense drive, you bite hard. So what I think is the best training method of all goes back to those basics of Schutzen that the Germans showed us when they came over here. Gary Patterson's wrote one of the best books ever on Schutzen bite work and protection training, and you balance the drives.
question.
And then you can go either way because your dog's biting full and he's biting hard. Whether you're on a sport field, that's what they're looking for. Whether you're in real life, that's what you're looking for.
So basically, to answer the question is, the drive. Even if you switch over, the dog. If your dog is here, he's gonna go in Chittenden, gonna go here. If he goes to protection tree, go here. It's
Right.
The dog is a dog.
Right. Training. How you train. Every dog has prey drive. Every dog has defense drive. How you train the dog to bring these to their full potential.
Right.
That's
but
what makes
transitioning into something different, the dog. It shouldn't matter to the dog.
Nope.
I think that's what you was asking.
He's
If
ready
I'm
to go.
wrong, quote me. But that's what I was thinking.
What do you got,
Okay,
Coach?
so I got two.
Okay.
Are there any, this is from Troy, other real drives other than prey and defense?
Yes. There's one other drive. Now remember, when the Germans, Troy, when they came over here with these scientific methods of training, everything is based on a scientific fact. A drive is a biological function. Okay? I got blue eyes. I can't change my eyes to brown. I can't make them less blue or more blue. Now, if I work out in the sun a lot, I can get cataracts and not see so good, and they may not look as blue. They're still the same color. A drive is a biological fact, survival instinct in all mammals, Mm-hmm. And the definition of a drive is, oh gosh, if I can remember this, the book deal is, it is a involuntary response to a specific stimulus that leads to the survival of the species. So the third and only other scientifically drive, in America we got 743 drives, but the only other scientific drive that there is, Troy, you'll be familiar with this possibly, we got prey drive, gets us food, helps the species thrive. We got defense drive, we go after grizzly bears if they come after us, keeps the pack alive. The third drive is sex drive.
Giggity.
And
Yep.
you get an involuntary response to a specific stimulus. And these days, there's lots of different stimuluses around.
Well,
but
the biggest thing is survival of species.
and it definitely
It's necessary to keep
contributes-
us.
Yeah.
Okay, we got one more.
Okay.
Which is more beneficial? This is from Carolyn. I mean, for hunting humans, herding humans.
For what?
Herding.
Is that herding?
What?
Oh yeah, for herding humans.
Herding humans?
Yeah, no, that says hunting.
Hunting humans.
I think she meant what's more beneficial, which drive. I guess if you were gonna send your dog to hurt somebody.
Okay, here's the beauty of those early German trainers, Gottfried Dildai, and gosh, I can't remember all of them that I fortunately got to work with. You balance your drive, because if you're going to go send your dog after somebody, obviously he's got to have a quick, and believe me, it's not a strong response, it's not more prey drive. You want a quick, strong response in your prey drive. You want a quick, strong response in your defense drive. The way they react when you trigger that drive, that can be taught. That's the part you train. You make their reaction time faster. You make their intensity harder. You can do that with training techniques. Got nothing to do. I had a Springer Spaniel in California, 2 years old, biting the sacks and going after me on a sleeve. It's just, that's the training part. Okay? So you balance it. You want to send your dog after somebody who may hurt your family. You need a quick response to something that moves, that'll trigger his prey drive. And then when he actually gets that bozo, you need him to be intense and fighting and biting hard, so that person quits immediately. So you balance the two, and you don't have to worry. And I know I walked around training dogs for 10 or 15 years after thinking I knew all about balancing drives, and guess what? Then I met a man who really did know, and he showed me, and I thought, I never had it right all these years. So you need both. You need both. You need the attributes that each drive brings, and they come instinctually to the dog if you trigger the right response.
6:30.
Huh?
6:30.
6:30. Okay.
So, I mean, we got a little off track there, but that was,
Yeah.
you can cross dogs over. And like I said, it's two little different worlds. And we might carry on this on this week. We forgot one sport that we didn't get into tonight. It was Canine Pro Sports.
Canine Pro Sports. There's
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're almost out of time here.
and we're almost out of time, but I'll go real quick.
And we can just basically go ahead next week if you want to and continue this on.
We'll do a part 2.
We might do a part 2 and bring in Mondio and maybe Ken VP and just a little, just different techniques. And by no means am I an expert in any of this or these fields, but it helps open people's minds to go and see that everything originated for breeding purposes.
Yep.
And that's why the best dogs today come from Europe, because they keep the stringent rules
And standards. Yep. For all you Western Shepherd people that think you're a future breeder of my breed of dog, we're going to keep standards. In fact, I will say one thing about Pro Sports. That will be the certification standard for breeding registrable Western Shepherds as we go forward. So, if you think you want to get into it, we'd love to have you in the Western Shepherd Project, but it's not for people who just train on Saturday morning for 30 minutes. It's going to be...
this is actually... We got some good dogs here. And, survival of the fittest.
There you go.
Speaking of that, let's do a trivia question.
Okay.
How about it?
Which one? Yeah, you got one?
Yep. And it's not going to be... I'm not giving no hints because I can't. Because that would give it away, right? So, what is... Let's see which one I want to use here.
Watch out, he's thinking, folks.
All right, so what is the world's smallest guard dog that is classified as a guard dog?
Right. Recognized and classified.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
I'm not giving you where it's from or anything else. If no one gets it, I'll give you a hint next week. And we might add a little more to the prize package.
Yeah. What do we do for a prize right now?
It's paying.
Got a pin?
No, I don't know. What are we doing?
How about, let's do, we'll give you a choice. And y'all can start answering these in comments.
Yep.
And the first one to get it right will be the winner. We got either my dog bites security, my security system bites bumper stickers. And then we got the talk shit, get bit t-shirts.
Yep.
First one to get it right, hey, we'll go 2.
That's fine.
First one to get it right gets the talk shit t-shirt. Second one to get it, my security system bites.
And this pen.
And Scott's pen.
This pen's from Texas.
Wow, yeah, you like that, by gosh.
Right. And it has a...
It can't spell, but
They don't have my phone number on it, but, Anyway, just think about it. What is the world's smallest recognized guard dog?
Dog breed.
Okay, Troy, come on.
Come on, yeah, Troy.
Toy poodle.
Huh?
Troy said toy poodle.
Toy poodle.
Keep going. You better get back on Google, boy. Nope, that's not it.
Yeah, you're going to be a long time on Google tonight, Troy.
Yeah. At least he's always on it, though.
Oh, I know it. It's like
Anyway, I hope we helped
he'll
you out.
probably get it, too.
I hope we helped people out with some information tonight and a little clarification on a few things
And next week we'll do part 2. We'll go to the more street-oriented and military police sort of
This is like
stuff like K and PV.
Yeah, because this stuff's not really. It's the high-end stuff. These are dogs that have. This is serious business.
Yep.
A lot of these dogs and the way they're doing things is. Bye. Talk to you later.
Uh-oh.
It's all about the dogs.